Good morning. Today we will discuss about the histology of excretory unit. The kidney, it is covered by the capsules and it is the mainly two part of the kidney. It is the excretory organ and it has two parts, cortex and medulla. Cortex, it contains the Malpighian or renal corpuscle, PCT with brush border, darkly stained, and DCT without brush border and lightly stained. And the both are mostly, it is lined by the either columnar or cuboidal epitheliums. Medulla, which is the collecting tubules, it is lined by the cuboidal epithelium, and the duct, loop of Henle, thin segments. Inside the loop of Henle, thin segment, it is lined by the squamous epithelium, thick segment, it is lined by the cuboidal epithelium, and there is a presence of the capillaries. Here basically you have to remember the kidney slide. This is the slide of the kidney, and you can see the this is the renal corpuscle. This one is the renal corpuscle. This arrow here you can also see, this is a renal corpuscle, and this is a proximal convoluted tubules and distal convoluted tubules. So, and this is a medullary portion of the kidney where there is a presence of the collecting tubules, loop of Henle, and it is lined by the cuboidal epithelium. The ureter, it is a mucosa which is lined by the transitional epithelium. It is the star-shaped lumen, smooth muscle squared inner longitudinal muscles, and the outer circular muscles. And here you can see this is the star-shaped star-shaped lumen, and it is lined by the transitional epithelium. And the characteristic of the transitional epithelium, it is the stretchable as well as it does not absorb anything. And the outer line, it is by the adventitia. So this is the enlarged view of the ureter. Basically you have to remember this is a lumen which is lined by the transitional epithelium, inner longitudinal and outer circular, while inside the GIT, inner circulatory and outer longitudinal muscles you have to remember. But inside the ureter there is absence of the submucosa and everything you have to remember. Epithelium is completely different as compared to the GIT. Urinary bladder, the mucosa which is lined by the transitional epithelium, it is a cuboidal, poniculum and umbrella shaped cells. Thick muscle squared, fiber running in all directions. The fiber of the muscles which is inner and outer are longitudinal, and middle it is circular layer. There is absence of the gland inside the urinary bladder, and serosa or adventitia, it is the outer line. So inside the ureter you have to remember mainly the transitional epithelium. The lamina propria, there is absence of the gland. You have to remember there is no gland inside the lamina propria, and there are three layers of the muscles. Inner and outer it is longitudinal, and middle one it is the circular layer of the urinary bladder. So this is the enlarged view of the urinary bladder. The vas deferens, it is lined by the mucosa by the pseudostratified columnar epithelium with stereocilia, thick smooth muscle squared. You have to remember the muscles layer which is very thick, made up of inner and outer longitudinal and middle circular. Small stellate shaped lumen. Here you can see the lumen inside the ureter which is the star shape. Here there is a stellate shaped lumen, and sperm inside the lumen also you can see. Inside the adventitia there is a presence of the adipose tissue. So this is the slide of the vas deferens. Here you can see this is the enlarged view. Mainly, you have to remember it is lined by the pseudostratified columnar epithelium. Another organ, it is the pseudostratified columnar epithelium, which is inside the respiratory tract, mainly the trachea and bronchi. Here also pseudostratified epithelium, but inside the trachea there is a presence of the hyaline cartilage. Here there is no hyaline cartilage, but here there is a muscular layer in three layers: inner and outer longitudinal and middle circular, and it is well developed. You have to remember. The testes, the seminiferal tubules, testis, which is it contains the seminiferal tubules, and around inside the seminiferal tubules there is spermatogenic and sartorial cells and interstitial cells of the leading in between the seminiferal tubule, mainly which is formed by the connective tissue. This is the darkly stained. These are the cells which is the interstitial cells which is lies inside the connective tissue and around to the seminiferal tubules. Spermatogenic cells at various stage of maturation inside the seminiferal tubules. The spermatogonia, spermatocytes, spermatid, and spermatozoa. This is the enlarged view. You can see this is the seminiferal tubules, and around to it there is a connective tissue, and inside the connective tissue there is a presence of the leading cells, and inside the seminiferal tubules there is a presence of the two type of the cells, spermatogenic cells and sartorial cells. The third one is the epididymis. The epididymis, which is lined by the pseudostratified columnar epithelium with stereocilia. There is no globulate cells. Smooth muscles fibers around each duct, which is the main characteristic of the epididymis, which is not present inside the testes, and sperm inside the lumen. It is a characteristic of the epididymis. So this is a slide of the epididymis. Here you can see the each and every duct of the seminiferal epididymis. There is a smooth muscles fibers, which is the characteristic of the epididymis, and it is lined by the pseudostratified columnar epithelium. The seminal vesicles. The mucosa, which is lined by the pseudostratified columnar epithelium or simple epithelium, forms the branching and anastomosis fold with many crypt formations. Here you can see, I will keep the another slide of the seminal vesicles. This is the formations of the crypt inside the seminal vesicles, and smooth muscles coat inner circular and outer longitudinal, and adventitia is thin layer and made up of loose connective tissue. The prostate. Here you can see this is the ideal diagram of the seminal vesicles. Inside the mucosal fold, which makes the mucosal crypt, and it is lined by the pseudostratified columnar epithelium, and there is a inner circular and outer longitudinal muscles layer, and most outer there is a tunica adventitia. The prostate, it is outer lined by the capsules. Inner there is a tubuloalveolar gland lined by the columnar epithelium, and prostatic urethra lined by the transitional epithelium. So, and there is a fibromuscular stroma, there is a smooth muscles, collagen fiber and elastic fibers, blood vessels and nerves. The main characteristic of the prostate, it is the prostatic concretions, or it is also called the corpora amylaceae, which is seen in old age. It is dense body of the glycoprotein. Here this is the slide of the prostatic urethra. This is the urethra, which is lined by the transitional epithelium, as well as here you can see these are the prostatic glands, and this prostatic gland, this pink color, here you can see this is a prostatic concretions, or it is also called the corpora amylacea, which is seen inside the old age. So this is about to the prostate. Hope you enjoy the slide of the genitourinary system. Thank you very much.